Hello there, welcome back to Howley Hall Golf Club and to our indoor golf performance centre here. Now today we are taking a look at three brand new products I've got from Srixon, so some of the new ZXi metal woods. Okay, so we've got driver, fairway and hybrid to have a bit of a look at today. Srixon are a brand that maybe get overlooked sometimes when we're talking about metal woods, and maybe some of you out there don't give them enough of a chance really when you're looking for a new driver, fairway or hybrid. Today hopefully we're gonna show you that these products perform absolutely fantastic. I've not even hit them yet, but certainly from hitting Srixon product in the past, and particularly irons, the Cleveland wedges that come out as well, all one brand. The products are amazing, and you see lots of them in the bags of some of the best players in the world on tour. I've got the core model in each of these, so there are others, so there's a Max and an LS version of the driver particularly, but there are some new technological changes that have happened to the new metalwood range, and we'll talk about them in a second. But yeah, I mean, looks wise, I think these are as good looking as anything that's out there on the market. I think they sit really nicely behind the ball. They fill you with confidence, and also really like that kind of matte finish that we get on top there as well, which is quite different to some of the products that are out there at the moment. Now, any of you that have used Srixon before will know there's lots of adjustability generally in the weighting that's in there as well, so we can shift those around. I think they're fairly kind of uncomplicated in terms of the way they look behind the ball too. We've also been sent them with some pretty good shafts in as well, so we've got the Srixon ZXi in these, and then the same in the fairways as well, but in the TR. Right, let's get into the tech and let's talk a little bit about that. So Srixon have changed quite a bit about the way that these drivers are designed, and particularly around the kind of face technology that they use here. So this iFace technology that they've used basically changes, or iFlex face, changes kind of the thickness in different parts of the face there. They've also used a brand new titanium as well, which is called Ti72s, which is something that they've never used before. And it's a kind of a new type of titanium that hasn't been used in drivers before. So what this has allowed them to do is make it thinner, more durable, and obviously get better ball speed off the face with that as well. So we would expect to see pretty decent ball speed and distance out of this driver. They've overhauled the adjustability as well. So we now have 12 different positions in this cog here in the hosel. So we can move the loft, we can make it upright and flatter and things like that. So really further dial it into every single player that is going to use this product. Now, when we look at the fairway woods, okay, so we've got similar technologies in there. So we've got the face technology in there in the iFlex that again is going to help us to get more ball speed. Certainly that kind of step down on the head, which has been a bit more pronounced in previous models. It's still there when you look down on it, but it's not quite, like I say, as sort of in your face as it was before. The lower and deeper CG means these are going to be a little bit more forgiving as well, but we'd still expect some really, really quick ball speed off there. And the hybrid. So these are not clubs that I tend to use myself, but certainly whenever I've looked at Srixon hybrids in the past, I think they look really nice, that kind of peanut sort of shape that they have, which I think is really sort of suits the better player's eye. A lot of hybrids now look really upright, massive, and particularly horrible when you sit them behind the ball. I love that they've got the adjustability, and particularly for me with hybrids, the bad shot I hit goes a little bit left. So with this new adjustability in here, I can actually flatten the lie, kind of open the face up a little bit, and hopefully that'll help me hit it a bit straighter. So that's the tech. Let's go hit some of these on the Trackman here and have a bit of a look at how they perform. So we are going to start off with the ZXi hybrid. The one I have here is number 3, 19 degrees. But like I said before, the great thing about the adjustability in this is I'm able to flatten the lie. So that's exactly what I've done. It's standard loft, but in the flatter lie position. So hopefully that's going to stop me hitting it left like I always do with hybrids. Certainly feels very quick off the face, and it didn't go left. So that is a good start. I think in terms of looks behind the ball, fills you with confidence. The head actually looks quite big. It looks sort of quite deep from front to back as well. So for those of you out there that absolutely love your hybrids, I think you're probably going to like the look of this as well. I think the added adjustability helps with that too. And certainly being able to dial it into every single type of player. Like I say, I mean, that nice little kind of bit of a push down there is sort of very different to what I'd expect with most hybrids I've tried in the past. Again, a little bit out the toe, but Felt quite a decent strike, nice little draw down there. And I can see already that the distance is pretty good. So we'll have a look at the numbers and stuff at the end. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the way it looks, feels very easy to hit as well. Very, very forgiving. I mean, that was a pretty poor strike out the toe there. And it's still gone sort of nearly 240 yards, which is kind of where I would expect to be hitting a club like this, really. So let's just hit a few more. Just feels so powerful off the face. Really, really good. Again, really nice straight shot there. This could be changing my mind about hybrids. This feels absolutely awesome. So yeah, again, that's a better strike, got over that 240 mark. And yeah, I just think it's a really nice looking golf club. It sits great behind the ball. It feels awesome off the face, feels really quick. I really like the kind of tingy kind of sound it makes as well. It kind of makes me think of some of the fairway woods and hybrids that I've hit sort of over the years, really, particularly the older end of those, because they tend to sound quite dull and carbony nowadays, and this one doesn't. I've absolutely ripped that. Yeah, that has gone miles, yeah, about another 10 yards. So yeah, really, really great club, very forgiving. As you can see, I've hit some good, some bad there. But yeah, I'd really like the look of it, and very surprised by how much I like it, to be quite honest. It'd be great to test this when we get outside in some actual nice weather when it changes here in the UK. But yeah, I think so far, so good. So now we've moved on to the ZXi fairway wood. This is a 3-wood, 15 degrees. I'm gonna hit it in the sort of standard setting to start with, see how we get on, and then potentially, you know, we may mess about with the way that it's set a little bit in order to make it work a little bit better. So let's hit a few to start with and see how it performs. Wow, it's quick. I mean, the ball speed just feels awesome. Turned it over a little bit, but it's quite a lowish flight for a fairway wood as well. Yeah, I mean, we'll obviously get into the numbers a bit better, but that's just one shot I've hit there, and the spin is kind of just over 2,500 RPM, which is a little bit low really for fairway wood. Yes, I know I've turned it over, so it's going to be a little bit lower, but potentially we might have to do a little bit with the loft on this. A bit of a toey strike, see what that comes out like. Yeah, just pushed it a bit, but again, fine. I mean, it's gone a very good distance. The ball speed is very good too. Yeah, it feels great, just as good as that hybrid did off the face, to be honest. Again, pretty good strike. That might just turn over a bit. No, it's good, pretty straight. Yeah, good. I mean, looking at the numbers just, you know, straight off the bat there, I would say maybe it's a little too low spin and low launch. So what I'm going to do is just play around with the loft a little bit and see if I can get it to sort of perform a little bit better. So having hit 3 shots now with this fairway wood in the 15-degree position, I've got the unenviable problem of the fact that it's going too far, right? So, which is a great problem to have, don't get me wrong, but it's with a fairway wood, obviously we want to be able to hit this thing off the ground and off the tee, and it's a club that we want to go shorter than a driver, probably a little bit higher flight, and be able to stop it should we need to, because it's one that we're going to hit into, you know, par 5s, maybe some longer par 4s for some of you. You know, it's a club that needs to be more versatile. Now, the 3 I've hit there have gone 308, 295, and 307 yards, right? Now, I don't need a 3-wood to do that. Now, what I want it to do is probably go around the, I don't know, 270 to 280 is kind of where I would normally hit a 3-wood if I hit a good one. So what I've done to this is added some loft to it. So that's kind of more like the flight I want to see. And yeah, I can see that's got the spins now just over 3,300 RPM, which is better. So we're kind of carrying it that 260, 265 mark, and it runs out to between 270 and 280. So that's kind of what I want this club to do. Pushed it a bit, I think. Yeah, a little bit. It's okay though. A little bit high and a little bit of a push down the right-hand side, but still in play. Just that sort of flight is more like what I want to see when I'm hitting a 3-wood. But it still feels just as good off the face. So now it's the turn of the ZXi driver. Been looking forward to hitting this. Slightly different shaft, so we've got the Ventus Black 6X in here. So this is actually the shaft that I have in my driver at the moment. So it already feels quite nice to just swing. I'm not hit a shot with it yet, but certainly the weight of it, length feels pretty good. You know, it's kind of been made to my spec, which is very, very good. And thank you very much to Srixon for doing that. Again, just like the Fairway and the Hybrid, there's that sound that's a bit more kind of old school, if you like. It doesn't sound really carbony. It doesn't sound, you know, really dead like some of the drivers do, or that we've kind of got used to, I suppose. A little bit left on me, that one, unfortunately, but still felt quite a good hit. It's gone very, very high. I can see that straight away. Even though I've pulled it, it's ridiculously high. So we may have to knock a bit of loft off this. So what I'm going to do is actually adjust this, okay? So I'm going to move the heavier weight towards the toe to try and keep that face a bit more open, because I can just feel in one swing that it's just far too active that way. And also it's got way too much loft on. So I'm going to knock this down. So I'm able to knock it down 1.5 degrees on this loft setting. So I'm going to go down to 9 degrees basically on this driver and see what difference that makes. Okay, so hopefully that makes a bit of a difference to direction and also the height. So hopefully helps us hit it a bit straighter, but also takes some of the height off that ball flight. That felt pretty good. It's still quite high. Just feels great off the face. I love the sound. I think it sounds brilliant. Again, just feels miles better now off the face in terms of how solid it is. A little bit of a draw, but it's gone a long way. So that, yeah, straight away, that feels a hell of a lot better to me. It feels much more like the driver that I use at the moment. Hopefully we can hit another 10, 15 shots with this, really show you how it performs over quite a few. I mean, I'd be happy with that every time, that nice big draw down there that finishes just on the left-hand side of the fairway. But hopefully just by making those adjustments, we make it that bit more playable too, just like we did with the Fairway and the Hybrid. Okay, so let's have a bit of a look at what we're seeing on the Trackman here. So we'll start with the ZXi Hybrid, okay? Remember that was in the 3 hybrid loft, 19 degrees, and in that flatter setting as well. So what we can see here is basically that we are getting what I would class as pretty good numbers. So the ball speed at 151 miles an hour, carrying 135, 136, 235, 236, and 247 as a total distance, which is pretty good. That's kind of what I would expect from my sort of 5 wood / kind of 3 hybrid kind of distance, and it's exactly what I'd want. In terms of the height, we can see 120 feet, which is probably a bit higher than I would hit my 5 wood, and that's kind of what I'd expect really from a hybrid like this, is that higher flight, a little bit better stopping power, a little bit more spin, which is what we're seeing here. And yeah, it's certainly very different to what I've used in the past. In terms of hybrids, it's probably one of the nicest I think I've used. So those of you that are sort of better players and been maybe put off by hybrids because, like me, you just hit them left all day long, this might be one that you might think about putting in the bag because of that adjustability, the ability to flatten the lie a bit. It just helps you to start it on target a little bit better. And certainly I found that once I got in a bit of a rhythm and started hitting a few with this, I was able to kind of just hit very straight shots that were kind of ideal for those rounds where you want to take some of the jeopardy out of it, stand on the tee and just hit a hybrid down the middle somewhere that goes 240 to 250. It's a very, very easy club to do that with. So yeah, that's pretty good. Now, when we then move on to the fairway wood, okay? So what I've got here is I've left in the few shots that I hit in the standard position, okay? So we can see here that the distance was unbelievable. So 296 as an average, 269 carry. So we're getting quite a lot of run on the ball there, purely because the spin's so low. So 2788 as an average, and down at 81 feet in terms of how high it was going. So literally only added 1 degree of loft, and the difference between the numbers is just unbelievable. So we can see in terms of the spin, it's gone up massively. So we've got sort of 5, 6, nearly 700 RPM difference, okay? So that is, from 1 degree, more than I would expect to see. Now, this may be me just hitting it slightly different, but certainly I just felt, looking at the golf club and kind of how it felt to hit, it just felt easier to use really, and easier to get in the air. And certainly we can see that the height, 118 feet versus 81 as well. So a huge difference there in how high we're hitting this golf ball. We're losing 3 yards of carry, but we're gaining so much kind of accuracy and it's stopping power really. Not that you ever want a 3-wood to stop dead, but certainly now we're seeing it's carrying 266 and going 282. So we've kind of narrowed that distance between where it carries and where it finishes just that little bit more. So if we look at the driver, okay, again, we started off in that standard 10.5 with the heavier weight towards the heel of the driver. And we can see what that did was, you know, it was decent, the distance was good, but we can see the spin was very high. So 3.2, just over 3.2, and 140 feet in the air, which is way too high. So what I did was knock that down 1.5 degrees, move the weights around, so shifted it into the toe a bit more to give me that bit more accuracy, but also to kind of knock the spin and the launch down a little bit. And we can see it's made a massive difference to the distance. You know, the speeds I'm swinging it pretty much the same, but we can see in terms of the carry, it's gone up by 10, just over 10 yards, and total distance has gone up even more. So from 303, 304 to 317. So we're seeing quite a decent increase in that. And that's really, the ball speed's just got that little bit faster. Obviously the spin and launch come down, so the ball's going to go further. And certainly by fitting that driver a bit better for me, able to get some really decent numbers out. I mean, that's certainly kind of as long as anything that we've used when testing this year, and certainly as quick ball speed wise as anything we've used this year as well. It'd be great to actually get out on the golf course when we're not covered in snow to test these properly. But yeah, just hitting those shots here today, very, very impressed with what we're seeing throughout the range, to be honest. It'd be good. I'm sure Srixon are going to send us the LS and the Max model so we can do a proper comparison of all three for you. But certainly looking at these in the driver, fairway and hybrid, very, very good products, and certainly ones you should be considering if you're changing any of these in your bag for 2025. Hopefully you've enjoyed that video. It's been great to test these, great to hit them, and very, very surprising to see how much of a step forward Srixon have made with the ZXi series. See you all very soon.